name's Sandy Coleman and my colleague is Ethan Smith, and we are both social workers in Surrey's Independent Visitor Service. Basically, we are a befriending service for children in the care of the local authority or care leavers of the local authority. So welcome to our Lunch and Learn. Next slide, please, Ethan. So just to tell you what an independent visitor is, you're a trusted adult volunteer for our children. We ask you to befriend, visit and advise with a very small a children who are in care, and that can be foster care, residential care or kinship care. That's where children or young people are placed with friends or relatives of the family. There's a difference between being a befriender and an advocate and a mentor. Advocates are professionally trained. Mentors will be people who are doing something very task-centered and time-focused work with a young person. We're asking you to be committed to a child for a minimum of 2 years. You are independent because you sit outside of our care system. And then once you go through our process, we carefully match you with a child, just one child, or a young person in your local area. We would ask you to travel no more than 60 minutes. Can be longer, but that would be with your choice. So it's very important to distinguish that we are finding independent visitors for children rather than children for independent visitors. The focus very much has to be on the child. Thank you, Ethan. There is a legal framework, and I probably don't need to tell you too much about this other than it's enshrined in the Children Act 1989. A child is eligible for an IV if the people around the child, if the professional network feel they benefit from one and the child wants to have one. That's very important. Our children do get a huge amount of choice within the care system, so they absolutely have complete agency in our scheme about whether they have an independent visitor or not. And as I said before, a person appointed as an IV under the Children Act must visit, befriend and advise a child with a small a. Thanks, Ethan. Who can be an independent visitor? People who can give a minimum commitment of 2 years to a young person following our recruitment and matching process. That would take 9 to 12 months. It's people who can visit a child on a one-to-one basis once a month. The bit about it taking 9 to 12 months might sound like a very long time, but we can't make any apologies for that because our children are extremely vulnerable and we're asking you to be out on your own with them in the community. So we have quite a rigorous assessment process basically of our volunteers. You need to be able to visit a young person on a one-to-one basis once a month. If you've got a car, you'll need to notify your car insurance that you're driving as a volunteer. If you don't drive, that doesn't preclude you, but there would be some children, because Surrey is so vast and very leafy in areas, it may take longer to match you with the child if you're unable to drive. And as we've said before, most journeys will be between 0 and 40 minutes, but may be up to 60 minutes with your agreement. Thank you, Ethan. I hope I'm not rushing too much. What skills does an IV need? We need you to like children and young people. I hope that speaks for itself. We need you to be trustworthy, honest, a good listener and be warm. And we need you to be sensitive to the other people's needs. Thank you, Ethan. We need you to be reliable and committed. Our children have lots of adults who have been in their lives and drop off. They have a continual revolving door of professional adults in their lives. So we need people to be around and be constant. You need to be able to make friends easily. You need to be responsible. You need to be patient and empathetic. And you need to be aware of the diversity of our population. And that would involve respecting that children come from different religions, cultures and life experiences. Thank you, Ethan. Who can't be an IV? Because of its independent nature, we need you not to work for Surrey County Council Children's Services or have partners or spouses of Surrey County councillors. Some people with convictions against children and some other convictions and cautions would preclude you from being an IV, but we would always ask you please to be upfront, talk to us about it. Thank you, Ethan. When do children need an IV? Children and young people who have an independent visitor are usually matched between the ages of 10 and 17, but our service does extend to 21 for young people who have been care experienced. And we want children to have an IV where it's thought to be in the best interest of a child. All children in care have the right to an IV if they want one. We don't have enough. That's why all children that want one don't have one, sadly. And now, Ethan, you're going to play a video, which is very short, and I can't do that. Thank you very much, everybody. Sorry if I was very quick.
So this video is by Bernardo's, and it's called A Friend by Nature. If it loads. You hear it?
No. No.
Okay. I think we're going to have to skip the video and just crack on.
Okay, love.
Right, so what type of people are you looking for? People with energy, emotional energy, people with a get up and go, people who can be flexible and have the time available to give to a young person, people who would be happy to be matched with a child from a different background or culture, or a child with a disability. So that's a very marginalised group. It can be difficult to match children with disabilities. So we are looking for adults that are willing and able to commit to that as well. People whose own lives are secure and stable. Again, that comes round the thing around flexibility, and we want you to be in a position where you're not going to let a child or young person down. Some of the stories and backgrounds that our young people have lived through can be quite challenging. So we're looking for people that aren't easily shocked, and people that don't have expectations or expecting the perfect child. That's also really important. The process to become an independent visitor, so it can take between 9 to 12 months from the date you attend an opening evening and submit your application to the point of being matched with a child. We run a 2-day training course, and we do DBS and local authority checks. We do an assessment, which is all about getting to know you, finding out your interests and likes. This all helps with matching with a young person. Then you go to an independent panel, which is a group of people that will look at the assessment we've done with you, and give their feedback as well. Then we match you with a young person. And then once matched, you always have regular contact with us. We're always available on the other end of a phone for support. And we do have an out of hours team as well at weekends, which is run by fully trained social workers. Why become an independent visitor? It's a rewarding experience. Hopefully you'll be making a positive contribution to a child's life. You might enjoy spending time with a young person. Perhaps you want to get some experience, or you're looking for a career in something social care related. This is really, really helpful for that sort of thing. And expenses are always reimbursed, so you're never out of pocket. There's no financial cost to you. You'll be given a budget to be managed, and you and the young person get to decide how this is spent. You might want to do a small activity and then later on a bigger activity. So all those things around saving up and things like that you can do. Any more expensive activities, we always ask you to talk to us first, and we give you ongoing support and training. We run monthly support groups where we have guest speakers about various topics, out of hours support, as I mentioned, and you get to meet other experienced IVs as well. So in reality, how does it all work? Ideally, it all goes well. A long relationship with a young person. As we said, we want you to support it beyond 21. It can take a long time to trust and build a relationship, so it's important to be aware of that, managing your own expectations. Our young people can sometimes forget that you're coming. They can change their minds about wanting an IV. They might ask to see you more often. They don't always know what they enjoy doing, so it's very important if you're doing this role that you have sort of backup plans for activities that you and the young person might want to do, and just be flexible to changing plans at short notice. They might not always return your calls or texts, and they don't always give you feedback. So the next steps, if this sounds like something that you are interested in, our email address is here. We will put it in the chat as well. So if you give us an email, we'll send you more details. And we are running a recruitment twice a year. Our next round of recruitment is going to be early spring, so around March time. And we would put you down on our list of potential volunteers, and we would contact you to let you know when our next open evening is. We run 2 introductory training courses on Saturdays, 2 weeks apart. So we will give you more information there. Thank you very much for listening,